Talking with the experts.
Discover how to leverage your unique power for business success in our latest podcast episode 512.
When you start to lead this life within you and you start to listen to your intuition and you start to really lead in, like, does this feel good? If it doesn't feel good, then you know that you're not in alignment or that is not truth for you. Now, it might be truth for somebody else, which is amazing, and they can hold it and be in it and it's all juicy for them, but it's not your truth. So the first thing that usually moves through us is having the courage to say no, or having the courage to step in and do it different. You know, I've worked with a lot of people that have worked with a lot of business coaches in the past, and not dissing some of the coaches in the fields, but some of them are trying to keep people conformed in boxes and saying to them, you can only have business like this. It's got to be like this. You can only launch a membership, or you can only do one-to-one coaching. That's high level. That's where you're going to make your money. And they've been conditioned to think that that's the only way.
Talking with the experts.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts, where we believe that success is a journey, and every journey is easier with help from friends. That's why we bring you top-notch experts and real business heroes eager to share their lessons from the road to success. We delve into new topics each week: effective marketing strategies, innovative problem-solving, financial planning, and team building. We tackle everything you need to know to grow your business and keep it thriving. Whether you dream about launching your first startup or a business veteran looking to shake things up, we've got you covered. With each episode, you'll gain knowledge, boost your confidence, and be inspired to take action. So, grab a coffee, make yourself comfortable, and join our exciting journey. You're not alone in this. We're here, guiding you, cheering for you, and celebrating each milestone. Let's turn your business dreams into reality, starting today. Here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is all about business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Today my guest is Colleen Lindberg, and we're going to be discussing how when business owners fully lean into their power and own their uniqueness in business gets easier. This allows for an ease while people scale their business. The more people own their power, the easier and potent things get. Now, Colleen is a Soul Mission Activator and spiritual guide. Her mission on earth is to dismantle the conformity infrastructures holding us back so people can fully embody their potency and power. Colleen believes that each soul mission is a unique rhythm that is meant to ripple through the world. Welcome, Colleen. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here as well. Like, I can't wait to just chat with you and to just converse. I wish I had my coffee though.
Never mind. You can pretend you've got one.
Yeah. Well, it's 7 p.m. here at night right now. So like, it's probably more relevant. I'm drinking water.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Colleen, how did you end up doing what you're doing? And, how did you arrive at being a Soul Mission Activator?
Yeah, through a lot of ups and downs, we'll say. So I was a really formal, like, business coach and consultant, and I've been doing that work for 14 years. And inside of that, accountability, growth strategies, franchising, and, all the ins and outs of growing a business. And I just kept hearing this whisper consistently every day that there was more to life than this, that there was more to my mission on earth, that there was more that I was supposed to kind of step into. And one day I just believed it, and I started to just actually take action in what I kept hearing and what I kept seeing. And I really believe that we get signs, for movement, for growth, for all of the things. And I just one day trusted that the sign that came in was a thing. And then I started to take action in it. And then people started to like desire that. And then people started paying me money to do that work. And I was like, maybe there's something here, and years later, I now make more money today than I've ever done in any of the business consulting stuff that I do. And I was successful at that. And I don't work like I normally work. I flow within like a certain ease in my business. And it's really a lot of fun. And I love that I emulate the pathway of what we're speaking about today, because it's so important that we're authentic in that energy too, right? Like I'm not preaching about something that I haven't owned or been embodied in. So that's like the short Coles Notes version. There's so many more dimensions to that, but that'll work for now.
It's a pretty good version.
Yeah, perfect.
So how can we use our soul's purpose? How can we find our soul's purpose?
So and this is a great question, each person has one. And a lot of us, I think, understand that. And I think that we know that we're here for something. And sometimes we think it's this big, grandiose thing, like we need to be on stages in front of 10,000 people, or we need to be like an author touring. And that might be relevant for some of us. But some of us's purpose is like these small everyday actions that are so important to the whole puzzle that's playing out in the world, right? Like that smile that you gave to that person in the grocery store just changed that life, so that that person goes home now and is happy, and now ripples that into the world and creates what they're meant to create, because one day at a grocery store they met someone who smiled at them. And it's one of those things that it's in us, and my whole body is in goosebumps when I say that, right? Like it's like sometimes we think it's this big thing, or we need to be entrepreneurs, and it's not true. It's like following what you're called to do. And it's like I call it listening to the whisper a lot. Like it's like you hear it, like you should create that, or maybe you should call Mrs. Jones, or step into that space, or move your kids to this school, or it's those small little things that are showing up in our field that are helping us connect into like our intuition, which is then being led by our soul's expansion and purpose, right? And the more we quiet down and we start to listen and take action in it, the more it starts to get louder, and then we can see it more and we can feel it more, and then we're working within it more, So it's really about understanding that we're being spoken to all the time from our souls, from our higher self, from God, from universe, whomever you believe is helping guide us, because we're not just here on earth just doing the human thing. Like we're actually here, in a mechanism, we'll call it, experiencing, connecting, deeper rooted in, and all that kind of stuff. So it's the trust, really, and that surrendering energy to really lean into that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that view, because we all have a purpose in life, but some of us are a bit challenged with finding our purpose. I mean, I know I'm a very heart-centered person, so if someone comes to me and asks me to help them with something or other, I'm always willing to put my hand up, or I can always, I volunteer for to do things for people, because I feel that it's my purpose in life to help make others feel better about themselves, or to reach their goal rather than me reaching mine. I know that sounds a bit silly and a bit backwards, but my goal is to make others happy, and I think that's my sole purpose. But people are often challenged with finding what their purpose is, because they don't realize that just the everyday stuff that they do that makes someone else feel better is our purpose.
Yeah, and it's like the small movements of that. And I use this like measuring system. If it doesn't feel good, then you're off path. So if you're doing something that's not feeling good, and you're anxious and you're challenged in it and you're irritated and all of that, but you're like, I just need to stick it out, maybe for short term. But if you're in jobs or careers that really like drain your energy, you are not in alignment. If you are teaching your kids to do something because someone else says that you should do it this way and it doesn't feel good, it's not in alignment, right? And really looking for that. Like, it's like we came down to earth, and when we got into our earth experience bodies, our children, like us as kids, remember the other side. We remember why we're here. We remember, but then we get conditioned. We come into earth and our parents teach us stuff and our environments do, and then we forget what that was. And then we grow up and we move through life, and we're seeing this a lot less lately, because a lot of the kids coming in, the parents are awakened enough that they're staying awake, that they're not letting them fade. They're keeping it moving through the collective. But us, like we get to a certain point in our life and then we're like, there's got to be more than this, right? And there's only those two measurables that we remember. It doesn't feel good and it feels good. And when it feels good, we're moving into the right direction. And if we just use those two pulse points to like start to like assess our life, it will start to lead you down the pathway of being able to see it maybe, or hear it, or be open to it, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a really great way of explaining it. And so how can we dismantle, the conformity infrastructures that we've been conditioned with?
We need to make a choice. And sometimes that's like the easiest thing to say, yet it's the hardest, because when you start to lead this life within you and you start to listen to your intuition and you start to really lead in, like, does this feel good? If it doesn't feel good, then you know that you're not in alignment, or that is not truth for you. Now, it might be truth for somebody else, which is amazing, and they can hold it and be in it and it's all juicy for them, but it's not your truth. So the first thing that usually moves through us is having the courage to say no, or having the courage to step in and do it different. I've worked with a lot of people that have worked with a lot of business coaches in the past, and not dissing some of the coaches in the fields, but some of them are trying to keep people conformed in boxes and saying to them, you can only have business like this. It's got to be like this. You can only launch a membership, or you can only do one-to-one coaching. That's high level. That's where you're going to make your money. And they've been conditioned to think that that's the only way, where this soul's experience and their unique vibration is in these 5 assets, and building out the 5 assets and leaning in and making it flow through them. And it's all juicy, but there's people trying to keep us in these boxes. Not, some of them are on purpose, but some of them are not knowing that they're doing that. Whereas when it doesn't feel aligned, you've got to take some courage and some grit to actually speak that and say, no, I'm not doing it this way. This is what I feel is meant for me. This is what I feel aligned with. And it's creating some ripple effects in the world, because we're watching it happen in all different avenues of the space and time right now. And it's like, people are starting to stand up and speak through their voice and actually use it now more so than ever before. And it's creating some distortions. It's creating some challenges, because some people are coming out like angry almost and speaking it, instead of coming from the heart, like you said, in a place of love and actually just owning it as their truth and not needing to validate it like that it's theirs. But it's like, it's almost that first piece of choosing to step behind it and trusting that this is your lane, and that you will be guided and you will be held and you will find people that align in it, and the right clients will come forth. And just like I said, like, it's like when I made the choice, all of a sudden all these people started showing up, and I was like, I don't even know where they're even coming from. Like, I was like, did the universe text you? Because like, I was like, like, where did you even find me? And it's amazing to watch when we step in and we fully embody this and hold it, the things that happen. But it's and just like we said in the title and how you said in the intro, it's like, some of us keep playing in this box and we think we need to stay in the box, and the box isn't even relevant for you. Like, you're not even supposed to be in a box, right? So it's just recognizing that and really feeling into, when it doesn't feel good, then why are you still doing it? And starting to trust what's coming through, that you can hold it and be it and own it and have the confidence to serve in it, and it's yours already, so
yeah, it's a great way to be. And I guess in a business context, I mean, what you've said, not only is true for your personal life, but it's also true for your business life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's true in all the avenues and everything we do. Like, you think you should go to the gym and work out this way because this trainer has this body, and you're like, oh, I want to lose weight, when your body's desiring more like flow and walking. And that's what it needs in order to release the weight, because it's connected in. And this happens in everything, how we eat. Every single person has a blueprint on them, and you may not thrive in carnivore, and you may thrive more in vegan diet, or like, so each of us has to really play out. Like, some of us are conforming, thinking, well, I can't eat meat because of this, and this, when your body needs the meat in order to sustain, and it's in its healthiest peak. So each of us is different in all these avenues of our life, how we do relationships, how we raise our kids, how we learn, what information everything. So this is relevant in all the plays of our life, you know? And the more we learn this and the more we get attuned to it and the more we allow ourselves to step into this is where the magic comes in. This is where the flow, the ease, the grace, the joy. And it doesn't mean, like I said to you when I first jumped on, I'm amazing. It doesn't mean we don't have challenges, but we see them differently. Now we're like, okay, here we go again. How do we get through this one quicker? Right. And it's like, then we just see new solutions and it gets more creative. And it's like, you're like, yeah, is that all you got? No, just joking. Don't bring on anymore. We're okay. Right. So it just becomes more fun. So
absolutely. And I had a guest on yesterday who was speaking on a similar topic, and how if we are finding ourselves a little bit challenged with something, it's just to sit in the present. So, take those 3 really deep breaths and just sit in the moment and figure out what your immediate task is, and let the other ones that you need to do, but just let them rest quietly and put them on the back burner and just do one thing at a time. But it's important to be in the moment.
It's one of the most important pieces. Like I literally put out a video today on my platforms, like a reel on Instagram, and it went all over, but it was like, what can you do to deepen the connection within you, to deepen that intuition? And it's like stillness. You need to start to listen, and you need to start to take time in quietness, because that's where all the answers are. We've been conditioned as humans to keep doing, right? You get a 9-to-5 job, then you go get extracurricular activities, and then you drive your kids here, and then you come home and you make dinner, and then you ground in for a couple minutes, and then you go to bed and you do it all again the next day. And that's life, right? When we forget the most like potent connection we have is with nature, is with being outside, grounding, and in quietness. And I'm not saying like you need to be quiet for 18 hours a day. That's not what I'm saying. But how about 5 minutes? Right. And that 5 minutes and those 3 breaths make such a huge impact in the change of us being able to hold it, removing anxiety, being able to step in and understand. And it's not just about the doing any longer. And it never really was, I don't think, but we just didn't know any different,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, sitting in the quietness, and if, as you say, for five minutes, and just practicing mindfulness for those 5 minutes, is so beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Now, Colleen, you've got a podcast. It's called the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Tell me a little bit about that, and so what can listeners expect to learn or to hear?
Yeah, so you heard a lot in my bio about truth and holding our power, and the whole podcast is really a truth mechanism. So we speak truth into all different kinds of things. So when I have guests that come on, so I do 2 episodes a week. On a hiatus now till October because I am rebranding. We're doing season 2. Like I did 57 episodes since February, and I went, okay, can we just pause for a couple of minutes? Because I just need to regroup into some energy.
Yeah, I get
but there's
that.
57. Yeah, you got it. You understand, right? So there's like 57 episodes there, but it's all about really leaning in, owning your truth, owning your power, speaking your voice, stepping into the space. There's a lot of spiritual stuff in there too, because I'm a spiritual guide, and we talk about, some controversial stuff like mediumship and channeling. And I had a guest on that is a galactic walk-in, and most people are like, what is that? Soul left a body, and she walked into the body, and like as a full form, and it's like weird, and it's these weird conversations that will blow some people's minds, and some of them are really darker conversations, like the sex trafficking stuff that we've talked about, and some of the stuff happening in school systems. But it's all about speaking truth. So we have an eclectic mix. I've got some really cool people coming into season 2 that are sharing some stories, like a man who was born in jail. His mom was incarcerated when he was born, and just his mission in life now and what he does for a living. And, it's just like, it's some cool stuff. So it's on hiatus, but it's, I'm just going to also warn people that there's an E on every single episode, because I swear all the time, and it's my podcast. So like, it's a little bit crass, but I'm going to own it,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I so agree with podcast burnout. I get it, at least once a year, where I have to take a couple of months off, just because, I do, because I do the whole thing. I do the interviews, I do the editing, and it can get, with all the other things that I'm doing, you just think, oh God, I have to do this again. And so you need that break to I guess, re-energize yourself.
And it happens in all the aspects of our life. Sometimes we take a break from the gym and we go and do yoga for a couple of weeks till we get back into the space of working out. It's the exact same thing. But yeah, season 2 is going to come out with a bang for sure. Like, it's going to just be fun. Like, I love the conversations. I love meeting new people. I love that I have people coming on that have all these stories that are so unique. Like, and I'm sure it's the same thing for you. It's like we wouldn't have met, but we met because of your podcast, right? So it's like, it's just one of those things that it's such a beautiful experience, I feel, even though it is a lot of work.
For a reason.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Absolutely. Colleen, I guess, if you were to, give maybe 5 steps on how people can be, more aligned with their purpose, what might they be?
Yeah. So I feel like, let's see how many steps come out, because I may mess up the numbers because they'll probably just be all jumbled together because that's just my MO. But I think the first thing that we really need to understand and own is the fact that there is something here. Like, we actually have a purpose, and really owning that and understanding that we're like on a quest. Like, when we call it a journey, this is the quest of, what is this for me, and how do I lean into this so that I can fulfill my quest and mission on earth, right? And when I say Soul Mission Activator, it literally is in that energy of we're on a mission, and we go through our own, if you want to get graphic about it, our own wars inside of ourselves to be able to hold it and be in it and heal through the dimensions of what we've been through so that we can serve in it, and it's a really cool visual when you think about that. So the first thing is going to be understanding you have one. The next thing is going to be about listening and following that calling inside of you to start to discover what it is, to start to look for the breadcrumbs that you've actually left yourself. Before you got into this body as a soul, the blueprint was created. Now your goal is to find it. So like, you're on an adventure, and I once heard a speaker on a stage over the last couple of weeks say, there is no safety in life. The only safety is in the adventure. And I was like, and I believe that to be so true. Like when we actually look for familiarity in our world and we try to be safe, we are actually not, because we are sitting in a space of energy of like actually not moving in life and not creating in what we've been called to create, So just such a cool thing. But I would start with like listening to that call, feeling things out. What feels good in your life? What doesn't feel good? What lights you up? Like, how does this show up in your world? And how do you lean more into the things that light you up, which I will say is number 3. Like, how do you really like if you love to paint, why are you not painting? Because your purpose could be to create beautiful landscapes for people to have in their homes. And that imprint of energy creates home energy in their space, or love, or what you move through the world. I have a girlfriend that draws with like portal ways in her drawings, and she didn't know she did this, but she does. And she was like, oh my God. And she's meant to serve the world through art, and her job is a graphic designer. So she does it on the computer, but it's also a very tactile experience for her as well. So like honoring that and stepping into that space and really holding that space, right? And starting to lean into the things that feel good, and then start to hang out with people that feel good. It doesn't serve your soul for you to be diminishing your light, not speaking your truth, hanging out with people that are negative in your energy. You're dragging around the dead weight, because you've been friends for 25 years. And it's like, you've been doing the work. Because I imagine that if you're listening to this right here, right now, you've been doing some work. You've been learning some things, growing in your life. You desire to have some change. Like, you desire to actually do some stuff. Like, there's something that because you wouldn't be on this podcast listening to this interview if you weren't in it somewhere, like some way, shape, or form, whether it's in business, in life, whatever, right? So you're growing, which means some of the relationships that you had in your past are no longer serving your desires now, or your mission, or your light. And it's time to let go of those things. And then the 5th one would be letting go of all the other things in your life and trusting that you're going to be supported. And I think it's a quest and it's a journey. And I think that there's some pillars that we work within that are pivotal ones. But I think also too, as we grow and move, it develops. Like, will I always be a soul mission activator? I don't know. Like when I get into my 50s, I already know I'm supposed to be creating schools. Well, yeah, so I will still be activating, but I'll be doing it in children where I'm going to create infrastructure. I'm going to have like a Hogwarts. Okay. So like you can like quote me on this. Like you can be like, I knew that girl like 10 years ago. She was telling me she's going to have a Hogwarts. I'm going to have a Hogwarts. Okay. Like, and it's going to be really honed in on helping these children understand who they are, expand in it, have the confidence, and be able to trust in their power and accelerate whatever is their mission on earth so they can go out and do it. And I'm going to have them all over the world. And it's going to be like this really cool thing. And we're going to have these amazing adventures. And that will show up. And I guess I will still be a soul mission activator, just in a different way, like, and it's not going to be for profit. It will be because I want to. And the whole business side will fuel all of that. And all the work I've done over the last 10 years, let's say, will fuel all of that. And I'll be able to do it because I desire to, and because it feels good, and I can wear costumes if I want, but that's the thing, is like, what, like today's mission may turn into something different later. And our job is to just keep floating in it and to trust it and to move with it and to make the impact and to be amazing and to smile and to spread love and to support each other, and I just feel like some of this has gotten lost in the world over the years, and it's really time we bring it back. And the more people lit up, the more people are lighting other people, and that's really what the goal is, I feel. So
yeah, absolutely. I think if we all had that mindset, I think the world would be a lot better place than it is at the moment, and there wouldn't be as much conflict and bad things happening to innocent people.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. So
Colleen, if people want to work with you or indeed just learn more about you, where can they find you?
They can come hang out with me on Instagram. Most people are like, you don't have a website? I'm like, nah, I just don't really feel called to, and it's on purpose. Like it serves a lot, and I'll be getting some stuff, like my coach is now going like, we need some infrastructures that are different than what you have. I'm like, fine, I will listen to you because I pay you and I like your energy, but for now, come over to Instagram. You can even send me a DM. Like I'm in my DMs all the time. I love, if you learned anything from this, you have questions, like just come and shoot me a message. Like I am that person that loves to communicate, loves to know what's going on. And yeah, Instagram's my wheelhouse for sure.
Oh, wonderful. And again, I just want to mention your podcast because, it sounds really fascinating. So it's called the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. So if you want to listen to more from Colleen and her guests, head on over to there. Where can people find your podcast, Colleen?
On all the major platforms. So, and it's also on YouTube and my YouTube channel too. So I do videos as well, just like you.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your knowledge with us. I just want to ask it, and I ask all my guests, if you've got some words of wisdom that you'd like to share.
Yeah, I just want to finish off with like, I really want you guys to feel this energy that you matter in the world. You're one person, sometimes we think doesn't matter, but one person has moved mountains in this world. And I just really want you to feel and understand that every single day when you get up, you matter. You matter. Your light matters. Your mission matters. The movement you're making, your impact matters. And one person can change the world. So
absolutely.
Just feel that.
Absolutely. So for those that are feeling a little bit down and, you've got all these things that we deal with, like imposter syndrome or not feeling good, not feeling enough, then, Colleen's advice is absolutely spot on. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to talking with you again very soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.